Chapter 4. Lillian nodded politely as everyone greeted her. He continued to look for Sebastian in the crowd, but he was so crowded in the back that he couldn't see him anywhere. So Lillian asked Clement, "Where is your new son-in-law, Mr. Lisbon?" A knowing expression appeared on the guests' faces. "Ms. Smith is here to see Mr. Cadwell. The Smith family really respects the Cadwells. Of course, the Cadwells are also a reputable family. It only makes sense that Ms. Smith is here to get to know him." The guests continued to talk. On the other hand, Tyler was very excited. "Hello, Ms. Smith. My name is Tyler Cadwell." Lillian always stayed away from the public eye, so none of her fans really got close to her. Tyler is very excited now that he can hold Lillian's hand. The mere fact of this is enough for him to brag about for years. Once Tyler earns Lillian's favor, all the boys in Ravenview will fall in love with him as well. He didn't need Maria at that point. Lillian's eyebrows met when she saw Tyler. But then she saw Sebastian ready to leave and she shouted, "Don't leave." The guests froze in shock as Lillian ran to Sebastian. How did this happen? Lillian is the daughter of the Smith family, the most beautiful of all the beautiful. On the other hand, Sebastian is just poor trash. They obviously came from different worlds, so how did they know each other? The members of the Lisbon family immediately stiffened. They thought Lillian might have come here for Maria if not for Tyler. But he didn't go to any of them. Lillian was here for Sebastian. Tyler was the most embarrassed of them all as he kept his hand in the air. His shock quickly turned to anger. Sebastian was about to leave when he saw Lillian running towards him. His first thought was that Lillian was here to take revenge on him. Sebastian will be in big trouble if Lillian spits on him. He wasn't afraid when that happened, but it was still tiring. "There you are. Come with me." Lillian grabbed Sebastian's hand before pulling him out of the house. It was the first time Lillian had ever willingly held a man's hand, but it felt so natural. He didn't mind it at all, maybe because he had already slept with her last night. Another reason is that he was in too much of a hurry. "Are you mistaken, Ms. Smith?" Clement came with his men to block their way. "What do you mean?" Lillian asked. "This boy is just a provincial, Ms. Smith. How did you know him?" "You must be mistaken." Clement then pulled Tyler away. "You're probably here for Tyler, right? This is him. I'm not wrong. This is the man I'm looking for. Now, get out of my way," Lillian said as she motioned to Sebastian. "But he's just an exile. Why do you want to find him?" Clement asked in surprise. "This is a personal matter and you have nothing to do with it. Now, go away." Lillian didn't want to waste any more time with these people. This embarrassed both the Lisbon family and Tyler. They struggled to get close to Lillian, but she ignored them. Instead, he left with a lowly person like Sebastian. Tyler's eyes flashed coldly, but he didn't hold a grudge against Lillian. But against Sebastian. He felt that Sebastian was the reason why he lost his dignity today. Sebastian stopped when he reached the door and said to Clement, "I only have one piece of advice for you. You should think about buying a recreational land. Your time is running out." "How dare you curse my father-in-law?" Tyler shouted that he was going to punch Sebastian in the face. Sebastian's eyes lit up. But before he was hit, Lillian suddenly slapped Tyler's face. "Why did you slap me, Ms. Smith?" Tyler asked as he held her blushing cheeks. But he didn't try to fight back. "Insult Mr. Wilder one more time, and your whole family will lose money," Lillian scolded. Tyler and the Lisbons did nothing in anger as Lillian left holding Sebastian's hand. However, they could not anger Lillian. "Where are you taking me, Ms. Smith?" Sebastian asked after they left the Lisbon residence. "To save someone," Lillian said before pushing Sebastian into the front passenger seat. "Save who?" "My grandfather. He is seriously ill. And only you can save him." Lillian seemed to be in a hurry as she drove to the hospital. Why are you dragging me? Take him to the doctor if he's sick. Sebastian wondered. You cured my heart disease in just a few minutes this morning. That means you are very good. So he had to look for it, Lillian explained. I can save your grandfather, but does that mean you have to pay me in full now? Sebastian said. Forget it. I don't want any more money. Sebastian put everything back in Lillian's purse. What do you want? Asked Lillian. I want you to serve me once. Lillian immediately stepped on the brakes and the tire of her car scraped on the asphalt. If they weren't wearing a seatbelt, they might have been thrown out of the car. When the car stopped, Lillian glared at Sebastian. What the hell, that's just a joke. Don't be angry, said Sebastian. I don't like that joke. Lillian shouted and glared at him before continuing to drive. Meanwhile, several people were standing around the hospital bed in the VIP ward of a private hospital. Among these people are hospital director Lyle Maskins and Ravenview's best healer Herb Clinton. Herb is currently doing acupuncture for the old man in bed. Why prepare a hill when the patient is still alive? Aren't you a healer? Why are you saying all this? A voice was heard as Lillian and Sebastian entered the ward. Herb glared at Sebastian. Did you say that? Yes. Am I wrong? Sebastian replied. I just told them to get ready for Mr. Smith's hill because he really couldn't be saved anymore. Herb said. Sebastian sighed. What kind of doctor are you? Just because you can't save him, doesn't mean he can't be saved. What are you saying? How dare you insult me? Herb scolded. This was the first time in his time as Ravenview City's best healer that anyone had questioned his abilities. You have the audacity to speak to Mr. Clinton like that. You should be deported. Jamie glared at you. Sebastian. His other family members are also very angry with Sebastian. Although Herb was unable to save the old man, he still extended his life by many years. That's why they thank Herb and won't let anyone insult him. You can take all the money from my purse. What is it? Sebastian suddenly asked. Lillian sneaks a peek next to him while driving and immediately gets angry. Sebastian took a sanitary pad from his bag and fumbled with it. It looks like a diaper. What kind of woman still uses it? You don't have any other ailments, do you? Sebastian asked seriously. Your face hurts, Lillian shouted. He would have slapped Sebastian if he wasn't driving and he didn't need his help to save his grandfather. Sebastian was no longer angry with Lillian. He soon found 2 piles of money that he must have just taken from the bank. Please like, comment and subscribe. Chapter 5 Dad, Jamie, he's the master healer I sought out to help Grandpa, Lillian said. Master healer? Huh? Everyone stared at Sebastian with wide eyes when they heard Lillian call him a master healer. All great healers have spent time honing their skills. Sebastian looks like he's only in his 20s, so how is he so good? Are you fooled, Lillian? Jamie asked. He didn't lie, Jamie. He really is a master healer. He cured my heartache. Even though Lillian doesn't like Sebastian because he took her virginity, Sebastian still saves her life with his acupuncture skills. Even Herb is incapable of saving Lillian. So Sebastian must be a master healer. Are you sure you can save my father, kid? Ronan asked Sebastian. I haven't looked at the patient yet, so I can't be sure if I can save him. But I'm sure of one thing: if I can't save your father, no one in the world can, Sebastian answered with a calm and complacent tone. How dare you, huh? Even Mr. Clinton doesn't try to brag like that. Jamie snorted. He doesn't do that because he lacks skill. He wouldn't order you to prepare for the old man's hill otherwise, Sebastian said. You're too windy, Herb shouted angrily. I've been practicing medicine for 60 years. And this is the first time someone has criticized the I can. That's because you've never seen a true master healer, which happened to be me, Sebastian said with a smile. Whose child is that? He's so arrogant, heard sarcastically as two men entered the room. One was an old man with a beard while the other was a young man in his early 20s. He wears gold glasses and looks social. It's good you're here, Mr. Harris. And who is this? Ronan signaled to the bearded old man. Stephen Harris, the man in the glasses, introduced the old man next to him. He's Dr. Ricky, Uncle Ronan. I told him to come here to help Mr. Smith. Dr. Ricky. Herb rushed over and asked, "It's me." Matt stood proudly with his hands behind his back. He was not called this before, but kept this name after many years of saving others with his acupuncture skills. I've admired you for a long time, Dr. Ricky. Herb seemed excited. Is Dr. Ricky better than you, Mr. Clinton? Ronan asked with interest. Herb nodded loudly. I even call myself a master healer, but I can only do that within Ravenview City. Mr. Ricky, on the other hand, is the most famous master healer in our country. People like him are very rare. Ronan was immediately excited. Please, save my father, Mr. Ricky. I will pay you any amount as long as you save him. Matt suddenly spoke proudly. I didn't come here for the money. I wouldn't have acted if Stephen hadn't personally asked me to. Thank you very much, Mr. Harris. Ronan and Jamie quickly thanked Stephen. I'm just doing my duty. Uncle Ronan. Stephen then said to Matt, start the treatment, Dr. Ricky. We're in no rush. Matt turned to Sebastian. Weren't you telling me earlier that you are the best healer in the world? Kid? Yes. Sebastian nodded. He's not proud, that's just the truth. Not even his mentor could surpass him if he was still alive. Herb chimed in and said, you're too brave, kid. How dare you brag right in front of Dr. Ricky? Who is this, Uncle Ronan? Stephen asked Ronan. Lillian sought him out to save Grandpa, Ronan replied. Stephen told Lillian, he's lying to you, Lillian. He's clearly a fraud. No, he's really good, Lillian insisted. How good are you talking? More than Dr. Ricky? Stephen asked. What? Lillian was silent. Matt Ricky is a famous master healer in the country. Even though Sebastian is really very good, Lillian still doesn't believe that he is better than Matt. Especially since Sebastian is still too young. Stephen smiled and said, Mr. will be fine. Smith, now that Dr. Ricky, Lillian. You can fire this cheater. Lillian was in trouble because she was the one who looked for Sebastian. It would be rude if he told her to leave now. When you pick the right one. I'm leaving, Matt said before getting ready to leave. Ronan quickly stopped him while smiling and said, Don't be angry, Dr. Ricky. I'll get the boy out of here right away. Ronan then coldly said to Sebastian, Did you hear me, kid? You're going to leave on your own. Or my people will drag you away. Sebastian's eyes flashed coldly. If it wasn't for Lillian, she would have slapped the others for talking to her like this. Lillian seemed embarrassed. I'm really sorry, Mr. Wilder. How about you leave for now? You were responsible for getting me fired, so don't beg me after this. Sebastian grinned before leaving. He just came along for Lillian. Who knew his family was this rude? It's okay if they don't trust him, if they don't trust his talent, but it is too much to force him to leave. I'm sorry, Mr. Wilder. I didn't expect the situation to turn out like this. Do you want me to take you where you need to go? Lillian ran out to chase after Sebastian regretfully. No need. Sebastian started walking away before turning to Lillian and handing her a small package. I will give you this pill in return for defending me earlier. Your grandfather will live 3 more days if he takes it before he dies. Sebastian left after giving Lillian the pill. From here, they are fair. Lillian took the package back to the hospital. What have you got there, Lillian? Stephen asked. It's just medicine that Mr. Wilder is going to give me. He said as long as Grandpa is alive. He will live for 3 more days after taking it, said Lillian. You are too easily fooled, Lillian. How could you trust that trickster? Stephen said. Matt grinned. Mr. Harris is right. Who would try to take a pill made by a con artist? It's a miracle if someone lives 3 more days after taking it. Didn't you hear Mr. Ricky? Throw that away right now, shouted Ronan. Lillian hesitated. Although she doesn't like Sebastian because he took her virginity, she feels that he is not a cheater. Especially Sebastian easily cured his heart disease. Garbage belongs in the trash. Ronan snatched the package from Lillian's hand before throwing it in the trash. That's when Matt started looking at Elijah. Hopefully Herb watched and wanted to learn from his idol. In just a few moments, Matt's expression filled with clarity. What's wrong, Dr. Ricky? Ronan asked. Mr. Smith was poisoned, Matt replied. Poisoned? Ronan was surprised. He thought his father was just sick. Especially since that's what all the hospitals told him every time the doctors looked at him. Yes, poison. A rare poison that is not easily detectable, Matt explained. Can you cure him, Dr. Ricky? Lillian asked hopefully. Of course. There's nothing I can't heal in this world and there's no poison I can't cure, Matt answered complacently. Thank you very much, Dr. Ricky. Lillian was very thankful. Matt pulled out a box of needles and began to perform acupuncture on Elijah. Lillian watched nervously. Stephen immediately calmed her down. Trust Dr. Ricky, Lillian. Mr. Smith will be fine. We really owe you a lot, Mr. Harris. You should make sure to thank him properly, Lillian, Ronan said in a meaningful tone.